you wanted to see everything of how I've organised things. So.
Let's get to the main section really. This is the calyx unit, and honestly these days, like I said, I got these. Now a little tip that he gave. And then he says to breathe on it.
It's Trini here. How are you all, and welcome to my channel. So it's the first time I've shown my face on camera, so if you're new to my channel, hi and welcome, and if you're an existing subscriber, well, here I am, meet the creator. So this is the face behind the hands. So I wanted to hop on and just have a bit of a chat. So if you haven't already, grab yourself a coffee and let's just have a chat. So the last time I uploaded was probably about 6 weeks ago, and it was titled something along the lines of she's back, craft room, desk tidy, and exciting things for the channel. So, and then I disappeared. So where have I been? Well, I have been decluttering my entire home, and that is not a small feat. So it's about my 5th or 6th pass. I don't know if you're familiar with the YouTube channel called The Space Maker Method with Avril. I've tried Marie Kondo, and I've tried, I think it's Dana White. All of the methods have been good, but the Space Maker Method is just, yeah, that really resonated with me. So I watched a series with Julie, the New York apartment series, and just something resonated, and I was on a mission. So I decluttered everything that didn't serve me anymore, and my house feels so calm. It feels so light. Then of course I moved into my craft studio and started in there. Now I didn't actually have to get rid of too many of my craft supplies. I only have a small space, so I've been fairly limited with what I can bring in. So most of my supplies have been okay, but I did want to store them better because the studio is outside. It's probably a glorified shed, and my intentions were to actually use that as my craft space, but I just was not comfortable with my fabrics and my glues and my paints, that sort of thing, being in there. So I moved them inside, and it's been working out really well. So the craft studio is now kind of like my holding zone, and in there I've mainly got things like all my books that I've curated over the years, and some of them are quite old, some of them are like late 1800s. Now I do harvest from these books, probably the late 1800s ones, not quite yet. A lot of them are in poor condition, and honestly that's why they've been let go. I've mainly gotten my supplies, just if you're interested, from just looking around, you know, just keeping an eye open, like on Gumtree, on Facebook Marketplace, Deceased Estates, and we call it op shopping here, but I know over in America and the UK, I think you call it thrifting. So I wanted to look after those. So I purchased some IKEA Cougars containers. I think that's how you say it. I will link, I'll put it up here, what I ordered. And I posted it on my community tab. Now I don't know if you've headed on over yet and checked out my community tab, but sometimes I will put polls up there, or I'll ask questions, and you guys have been great. You've been giving me feedback, and it's becoming a bit more active. So head on over there if you haven't been there already, but I did post a photo of me organising my Cougars containers, and you guys wanted to see a tour. You wanted to see everything of how I've organised things. So I just wanted to let you know that it is my holding zone. It is not my main craft studio. So we're going to do a tour, and then we're going to go inside, and I have been watching Tim Holtz's Asked and Answered, and I came across his labels, which have obviously been around for a while. But I, you know, when I heard of them, I thought, oh, I don't really need this. But yeah, I decided that I would, but we'll get into that about halfway through the video, and then we'll finish the video off. I purchased some new stamps because, you know, now I've got a little bit of extra room, you know, now that I've consolidated after my decluttering. I did have room for a few more stamps, and I love stamping. I think that's probably one of my favorite things that I enjoy doing. So we're going to have a little play with some new stamps that I've got. They're bird themed stamps, so I think that they're a good investment, something that I will use time and time again. So we'll see you on the other side of the camera. Thanks for the chat, and let's get into the tour.
Okay, so here we are at the entrance. I've got some Calyx units that are up on the wall there, but I do not recommend it. You can see that they have come apart here, and Mike has put a metal bracket underneath, and I only have light things on here. So I've just got these boxes, and they're just full of, you know, paper, cardstock. They're full of bags, and then I've just got other overflow, you know, envelopes, things like that. That one is just empty boxes of those pop vinyl figurines, because, you know, I was told to keep the boxes. Those two there are full of laces, but I've got them in plastic bags, so they are protected. And these are just some books that I've wanted to keep for future journal project ideas. Plus, I do want to get around to making a rag doll and a teddy bear one day, so I've kept those books. And these are just my crystals and just, you know, my incense burners, things like that. And up the top there are all my junk mail envelopes and more bags, things like that. So at the desk, I've got these pegboards, which are from IKEA. We've got the containers that I have just got full of, again, it's just overflow things. So I'll just show you what I've got. They're like little wooden sewing ephemera pieces. I've got some sea glass and just fabric little flowers. I've got bulb pins and a lot of, you know, the Tim Holtz sponge applicators. Honestly, the rest of them are pretty much empty because, as I said, I've brought them inside. This plastic container here, which I got from Bunnings many, many years ago, and it's been brilliant. I've got charms in there. And let me bring it down and show you, because I know you like to get ideas for how to store things. So you can see that I've got one of those jewel setters, which is good. And then I've just got little bags of jewelry findings. These little pipe cleaners are used for boho beads, and then I've just got various wires, and they're just all my little bits there. So I want to make charms and dangles and things like that, and I want to hang them on here when they're finished. These drawers, these are brilliant. I really like them. I want to do some resin projects, so I've got some of them coming up. This is some vintage ephemera, which I hoarded, but I'm now ready to let go when I start onto my little golden books. These little drawers here, that's where I keep all my paper clips. So this drawer here is like a junk drawer. I didn't want to get rid of the things in here because they're just, you know, things that I might want to use one day. You know, I've got things like locks. We're going to travel in a year, about a year or 18 months time. And I've got my headphone sets, which is always good for if I do work seminars and things like that. Oh, look at that. I've got one of those, I forget what they're called now, but you know, those exercise bands. Okay. These I have to sort and they have to go inside. We are memory keepers punch. I guess I've kept it for the instructions, but honestly, I don't even need this anymore. I can get rid of that, and I can get rid of that. Honestly, I don't need that. So that's an empty drawer, and this is another empty drawer. So when I was cleaning up, I found one of these that I had intended to do a tutorial. So it's a do-it-yourself drawer set. And this is Anko, so we must have got this from Target. Is it Target that sells Anko? And then I found this. So this is just some spray paint. So I thought, I'm going to do that. We're going to do that as a tutorial. Okay, so in my top drawer, it's just scissors and rubber bands, spare glasses. That's a spare glass privacy screen for my phone. My second drawer, I've just put these compartments in, and I've just put stuff, spare tape, a spare mouse. This is a really good Magnum torch. These are my excess plastic bags which I use for storage, and these are old journals and I've tied them up. It's a specific Japanese way of doing it, and that's how I store my old journals. I do have a bunch more, so I've created empty space to put some more in there. Let's get to the main section really. This is the calyx unit, and honestly these days, like I said, I got these Hugus. I'll put it up on the screen what they're actually called, but these fit this calyx unit, and I've got all my books inside and I've grouped them by theme. So this is all botanical. These are all reference pages and antique German book, a French textbook, poems. This is that primer of bookkeeping. I love that book. Can't wait to use pages for that. Complete works of William Shakespeare. I've got a Betty Crocker's Boy and Girl cookbook in there. This is just laminate stuff for my laminator, chipboard, and then I've just got some acetate pages. Mainly that's what that is. These three drawers here, in the bottom here, I've got those little cellophane bags. So for my Etsy orders, I grab these out, and then I've got these little stickers saying thank you. And then in the middle drawer, this is computer paper, and then these are some more stickers. There's mainly stickers in here that I want to go through. This one here is more charms. There's a lot of Tim Holtz things in here from memory. They're mainly book rings and bulldog clips and things like that. Again, this is from Bunnings. These are some charms here, and I can see some Tim Holtz plates in there as well. And the top one is page corner protectors and safety pins of various sizes, and also those I can't think of what they're called at the moment. I'll put it up on the screen. In here I've got just a tub, and it's just got all these little compartments, which has just got lots of different charms and shells and just little charms and bits and pieces. A lot of this stuff I've either purchased along the years or I've thrifted. Okay, so I've got more books here. This is where we're getting more into the children's books. So when I start doing my little golden books, I'll be drawing a lot from here. And these are all my Tim Holtz scrapbook papers, so that's what I've got there, which is so good because I can look at them now and know exactly where to go. And then these are more scrapbook papers here, so they're obviously just other types of scrapbook papers. This one is just more books. I'm yet to label that one. These drawers here, they're just a bunch of playing cards. I answered a Facebook marketplace, I think, or maybe it was Gumtree, and I wanted to purchase some of her playing cards, and then she kind of made a ridiculous offer for me to take the lot. I think she was tired of having them around and she just wanted to get rid of them, and I went, yeah, I'll take them, and here they all are. I've got some games playing cards down here, and I think this might be a bridge. Yeah, it's got a score pad and some playing cards. So yeah, I'll be letting go of some of these. I'll be making up some junk journal packs, and I'll be sharing these out, destashing and sharing these out in my Etsy shop. Okay, so this is just all basically Etsy stock, and these are more just bits and pieces. I probably won't go through all of these because, I mean, they're just serviettes. This is my Harry Potter drawer. I have got to go through this. Honestly, I've collected so much stuff over the years, and I don't even know if Harry Potter is popular anymore. I will have to have a look at that and see. A lot of these are buttons, but yeah, more stuff for the Etsy shop, and bingo cards, French vocab cards. So in the bottom, I've got these little tubs, and this is just like my excess glues. This is just soap making stuff. This is more charm. This is canning stuff, and this is just you know, for those IKEA pegboards and just, you know, spare containers. So I've just got a few things on the top there. That's my uncle's bag. It's like a big giant doctor's bag. I love it. And inside I've got all his old 8mm films. I don't know what to do with them. My children aren't going to be interested in them, but I have kept those, and I've got a spare tripod there. That's one of those light boxes, so when you take your photos on Etsy you can change the backgrounds. I've just got a few books there which don't fit into the Calyx unit. Last but not least, I mean, look, I've got this unit here, and you can see I've got my canning pressure canner there, and I've got like a pan that I use for soap making. This is my gardening section, and then this is all my tea dye, and also I want to do my eco dye papers. This is Easter decoration stuff, but these are my little golden books. One tub is full of things I've collected. I think it's this one here. We'll have to do an opening of that because I haven't looked at that for a very long time, and there'd be lots of fun things in there. And they're all my little golden books, and I don't remember what's quite in there, but I think it's more stuff for little golden books. And these two tubs here are just all book pages which I want to make into paper packs and share. Down here you can see I've got a Christmas box. Well, I've got two, and then I've got Halloween. So this is kind of my festival boxes here. And then this little section here is, I've got to sort this out a little bit better, but this is basically all my Etsy stuff. And there's my paper. So that's the paper there that I like to use. We had a bit of a shortage, and I stocked up a little bit and grabbed what I could of paper here in Perth, and that's what they are. And these are just some, I think these were my father's when he was a little boy. And there's some toys there. So yeah, I think I've got candle making things in there, and I love this little box. I'll bring it down. Yeah, so this box here I picked up on Facebook Marketplace, and it's a little case, but you can see it's got little holes in it, and I got it at a fairly reasonable price, but it was a bit broken. The lid, that's right, the lid was coming off. So I took it to a suitcase repair place, and he didn't really want to fix it. He was like, it wasn't worth it. And I'm like, no, I love it. I'm happy to pay the money. So he fixed it. He put a new board in there to reinforce it. And when I make my paper packs up, this is where I put them. I keep them in here. And when I bought them off the lady, she said that it came off the farm, and her father used to put paperwork in there for all the employees of the farm, so it always held paperwork. So I thought that was really cool. Perhaps we'll take down one of these boxes. You can have a look. This is what the box looks like, and if I take the lid off, you can see, I think I just sort of threw those books in there. I found them. That's how I store them.
Okay, so I'm back at my desk, and as usual it's a mess. I think having craft room is just a constant state of just tidying up. So let me just do a quick tidy, and we will clear the space, and we will get on to some organisation and a fun activity. Okay, so another area of organisation that I wanted to do was put some labels on all of my distress products, and I've been catching up on Tim Holtz's Q&As, I think they're called, and I came across finally all these labels that everyone's been talking about, and at first I sort of thought, nah, don't need those. But then when I saw the logic behind why Tim created them, I was sold. So I bought myself a packet of 4. And then I decided to do, so I've got some minis, and then I've got distress inks, and then I've got distress oxide pads. So I've written on the back
the black is going to be my distress inks, and the white is going to be my oxide inks. And then I got these little mini labels here. So the black one is going to be my distress oxide sprays, and then my white one is going to be my distress spray stains. So I'll be able to tell whether it's black or whether it's white, whether it's an oxide or not. And then I have these larger circles. So these ones I'm going to use. So I decided that the distress paints, I'm going to do black, and I have these distress glaze, and I'm going to have those as the white. So let me get my minis down. Okay, so these little containers are from IKEA, and they stack. I've got 4 of them, and they stack one on top of the other. So you can see here, these are palette knives, and these are my distress inks, and they stack very, very nicely, one on top of the other, and I've got a little space for them. I thought I had more minis in this, but it's probably what I've got. So let's take these out. Okay, and I have actually, I downloaded these off the Ranger site. So I do have them on some sides. Now Tim has them on all 4 sides, but I don't need that. All right, so let me get my mini and let's work this out. So I have got fired brick. So here we go. We've got fired brick. Now a little tip that he gave was to get one of these, like, you know, these little awls or pokey tools, and to just stick it onto your little stick, and then we can just place it down. So let me bring you in a bit closer. So I can now line up where I want it, and there we go. I thought that was a pretty neat trick. It's not exactly centered, but I don't think that really matters. So let's have a look what else we've got. We've got ripe persimmon. See if I can do this one a little bit better. There we go. I think that one is a little bit better. Okay, and so I'm just going to go along now, and I'm going to apply these labels to everything. Alright, so that little job is done, and these I'll just file away. Okay, so now I'm going to do my distress glazes. Now I decided, I've written them on the back so I wouldn't get myself confused. Alright, so we've got weathered wood. So I just recently bought a whole lot of distress paints because I did a couple of projects with them and just fell in love with them. Also the black and the white I got to help with, like, when you do splatters. So let's get these ones on. So have I got the right one? Yep, distress paints. This is going to be very satisfying. So when it comes to selecting my colours, a little tip I can pass on is that, you know, I have no intentions of getting every single colour in the collection, but I look at what sort of projects I enjoy doing, and then I look at the colour tones that would work well with that. So for example, I would do you know, for botanical, you would want to do your greens and your, you know, wild honey. You might want to do, you know, bundled sage, forest moss, peeled paint, crushed olive, cracked pistachio. So, you know, colours of leaves. If you're doing autumn, you might want to get some oranges or some reds. I also, you know, if you want to do bees, you know, you might want to do the black and the gold, and then yellows, and you might want to do some pretty like milled lavender, Victorian velvet, or, you know, some lovely, you know, oranges or pinks. So that's how I determine what colors I want to get. And also I have a lot of little golden books, so I'll be looking at, and it kind of in the 40s and 50s era, so I'll be looking at color tones from that era as well. I've also done like a Harry Potter fan themed journal, so some of the colors I bought for when I did that project. Of course, your reds are very good for Christmas and Halloween, and then you've got your vintage look, so your salvaged patinas, Victorian velvet, tarnished brass, bronze, all that sort of thing. All those sort of lovely colours. So on this side here, I have got all of the mica sprays, and I don't believe that he's got labels for those, so I might have to find another way of labelling these. I'm thinking if I got little round stickers, I don't think I've got anything. And then I sprayed them with the colour and then just glued them on top. I think that would work well. I have a lovely array of distress inks here, so I'm going to go ahead and label all of these. So just to show you, I have the distress ink, and then underneath I keep a little velcro dot, and then I put these little foam applicators underneath. I don't have it on every single one, but you can see here I've got a velcro dot. So for certain colours I'll keep a dedicated application sponge. I believe that Tim says you don't need to do that, but I kind of feel that, you know, that works for me. And then you can see here I've tried various attempts. I've put this Dymo label on here. I've handwritten in white paint. I downloaded these labels from the Ranger site, so I've tried various attempts. I really like these labels. They're very good quality and they just look lovely, and they're the right color tone as well. So let's do this. So this white one is for the oxides. So let me gather all my oxides together, which are easy because they're all the grey ones. So I think we've got all of them. little play now. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I treated myself to a new stamp set. So this one is on the side here you can see it's the Bird Feather CMS 180, but I mean look at the beautiful bird's nest and the eggs and yeah, the birds and everything. So what I'm going to do is actually kind of follow along with a tutorial on Tim Holtz's blog page, and I will link that blog that I have been following, but it's a very old blog, so I've kind of had to improvise, but I think it's kind of good actually, because I can, you know, demonstrate to you that like we can follow along with tutorials, but if we don't have exactly the same products, then we can just sort of improvise, and it doesn't have to be exactly the same. And this is just a play, so I don't need it to be perfect. So what I've got is 2 tags here. These are, I guess you would call these shipping tags. The sizes are 7.9 centimeters width and 15.9 centimeters high, so you know they're quite a larger tag, and in inches that's 3 1/8 inch across and it's 6 1/4 inches high. I have got some stamping blocks and I've got some inks here. Now I've mixing distress inks, and also he used tumbled glass, but I don't think speckled egg was out at that point, so we're going to use speckled egg. I have got a blending tool, and he uses distress markers. I have got a couple here, not the same colors, but from what I can see he highlights the nest. So I've got tea dye and I've got pine needles. If you don't have distress markers, and I haven't even checked if they work actually, let me see, because these are very old. All right, so the brush tip works on that one. All right, so the brush tips work on those too. So that's pine needle and tea dye. And I'm going to use some distress spray stains. So I've got broken china and iced spruce. I've also got one of these water brushes. This has got a fairly fine tip on it. And then I've got some stencils here. I don't have the same stencil that he had. These are the stencils from my journal, say unboxing, so I'll link below. These are great little stencils, and spoilers alert, I've got a video coming up where I've got a great use for these. I'm going to use one of these. Supplies that I can, I'll link in the description below. The first thing we do is we take our walnut. So I'm going to put these aside because I don't need to use these yet. And some of these I may not use because I think he stamps a feather and I'm not going to do that. I may need my heat tool as well. So that's something I may have to get up and bring across. All right, so we're going to use the nest and the 2 eggs. And I might use the figure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so we're going to put the nest there. That just fits. Now these have been tea dyed, so I'm going to put that on the back so that can be some journaling space. And we'll use these in a moment. So the first step is we're going to take our walnut stain and we're going to ink up our stamp. Now any of the ink that gets onto the rubber I tend to just sort of wipe off with my finger so I don't get a secondary stamping. All right, so the first one we're going to stamp just down here. Might come down a little bit more. And then he says to breathe on it. And then we can get a secondary stamping, which is fainter. Oh yeah, that worked. I like that. So then we get our blending tool and he says not to go in circles but to twist. I think we want to slightly smudge it just to fade the edges. And he says to use a twisting motion, so maybe he means like this. I have not watched any tutorial on this. I'm just reading his blog, so I'm going by photos. Wow, that's really nice. I like that. Okay. Editing Trini here. It seems we lost a bit of audio in this section, so I'm just jumping in with a quick voiceover just to explain what I'm doing. So I have got the 2 egg stamps there. So one you just use to put your base colour down. So I've just used the Distress Oxide Speckled Egg, and I'm just doing my first stamping here. Just arranging it so I can see a little bit better. And then I do the breath on it and do a second stamping. And I think I say something like, oh, that's really nice. And then I come in with the speckles now, the top layer of the egg, and I'm using the walnut stain here. So I'm just inking up my stamp. Okay, and then I just place my stamp over the top and then do the breath thing again, and then just stamp over the second time. There we go. I think that's okay. Then we can come in with our figure stamp, and we'll stamp that about here. Okay, so then we can come in and blend the background. Now I believe he likes to use frayed burlap, so that's why that colour's been picked, but like I say, you just use whatever you've got. So he just very softly come in. I might need to practice that one a little bit more. I've got some paper on the, I think if I come in and just come in and start, yeah, that's better. I've got marks. So you can see the difference where I've come in and I've hit it with the applicator there, but there I kind of got my technique a little bit better. But it's okay, like I said, this is just a play and this is how you learn. So I think we will now, with some walnut stain, I actually do like to do the back as well. Okay, so we could finish there, but Tim never does he? So we can now, this is where I get the distress sprayer. Now, I did pick this up because I think it, you know, you don't need it, but I think the idea with this is that you can spray, you get a nice even spray, but you can also pull the trigger softly and it just lets it drip down and you get drips. So you can get some of those splatters. Let me see if I can get my technique right. I'm just trying to get some water driplets. I think I might need to watch that video again. All right, so do I want to spritz that a bit more? I might just give it a spritz like that. All right, so I'm just going to get my heat tool now and dry it. I'll just come around and just do these highlights. Okay, so I did that one a little bit lighter, obviously, because that's more of a ghosted image. So this one here, I'll just come in and just do a few of these leaves. Now I'm just gonna sort of, because the leaves aren't very well defined, I'm just gonna come in and just do a few splodges just to sort of give the impression that, you know, there's some green foliage there. And then again, I'll come in with my water brush and I'll just wet that down just to blend that in. As I'm wetting it, it's sort of blending, and it's like, you know, distressing, it's like blooming, and it looks very nice actually. I like it. I think it's a good effect for, definitely for leaves. Probably the colour's not the greatest. I'd probably go for a different colour green, but that's all I've got, so okay. And then this one here, again, I'll just do really, really lightly. Not so sure about that actually. We'll see how it looks when it dries. I think I prefer this one better. And then we'll just put our stencil down, and I'm just going to very lightly spray some iced spruce. I'm going to come up quite high, so I've got some broken china rather. And I think that's enough. I don't think I want to do any more. And let's try this one. I'll try iced spruce on this one, but I'm coming up, I've got this one here, but I'm coming up really high and just going to give it a quick spray. Whoop. No, that squirts. All right, we'll stick with the spray stain, the broken china. Yeah. Just one spray, and oh goodness, I'll have to clean my spray mess up. I should have got the splatter box out. All right, let's have a look at what we got. All right, let me just clean this up a bit. It is messy work. All right, I'm just going to dry these off. All right, so, okay. There's some things I love about this, and there's some things that I'm not so happy about, and that's down to me. I definitely do not like the green leaves, so I'm going to have to work out how to colour those in better. Yeah, I'll have to research that. But what I do like is definitely the spray on the back there with the stencil. That is definitely a new technique. And also, you probably can't really see because I've covered up with the spray, but there is a slight, from where I've sprayed the water and it's reacted with the Distress Ink, it's left this lovely sort of grungy sort of look. I would use these tags myself, but I would definitely not present this as a tutorial or anything like that. But I'll keep having a play and getting my supplies out. So I was having a look at the tags and I was thinking I might just finish them off. So I had a look at what little word bands I had, and I picked out these two here: embrace imperfection and life is about creating yourself. So I think I'll put them to the side. Now I'm trying to think how I'm going to attach this. So I think what I'll do is I'll wrap I've got some hemp cord here. I think I'll wrap the hemp cord around and then I'll just glue this on the top. So let's do that. Let's just kind of wrap it around in the middle. But I will definitely try this again because I think I just overdid it a little bit. And also I think the pine needles was too strong a colour. So let me get some glue. Okay, so I'll just, so I am using the 450 quick dry adhesive by Helmer's, and I think if I just put a little bit of glue under here as well, and that is really going to secure that down. And honestly, I'm not that unhappy with that now. Let me get this one done as well. Okay, so I also have pulled out some of this Ideology collage paper that I've got, Avery. Grab my glue stick here and let's just put a little bit of that on the corner here. Goodness, what a mess. Okay, looks like that's very, very juicy, that one. Okay, so let's pop this just here and let's pop this one okay. Probably should let this dry, but let's see if I can carefully okay, I'll leave that alone. I won't cut that anymore. I'll wait till that dries and then I will re-ink the edges and I will sand it down a little bit more and then re-ink the edges. But yeah, I'm a lot happier with that. So I think I just need to, you know, next time I do the tag, I will use peeled paint, which is what Tim Holtz used, and I will just lightly do it. I won't do it so much as what I've done. I won't do it as heavily as what I've done it here. And yeah, anyway, we'll work on the leaves, but apart from that, I'm actually pretty happy with that. So yeah, as I said, this is not a tutorial. This was just a play around, and I hope you enjoyed the process, and I hope it encourages you to get out your supplies and have a little play. Maybe if you've got some Tim Holtz products, maybe have a look at his website. So what I did was I went onto the search function and I just typed in CMS1AO and that little blog tutorial came up. All right, guys, well, I will see you very soon in the next video. Take care and have a jolly good time creating. Bye.